Hey guys, MMA Milton back at it with another video, and today we're going into predictions on UFC Fight Night. Houston, Sean Strickland versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Just get straight into it. And honestly, for a card itself, it's decent. Obviously the main event is phenomenal. Really stoked, but they could have done a better job. I feel like on the main card, and the prelims are just okay, nothing special. Just a little disappointed on that aspect of it because I really wish they did a better job with the main card. The main card could have been way better, I feel like. And with the prelims as well, I feel like the prelims could have been better. I feel like some of these cards, they just do not care about the main card sometimes. They just care about the main event, slapping it together, and like, all right, you're fine with the rest. But honestly, let's get into it. So the first one, we got Julia Miller versus Carly Judas. And I'm going to go Julia Miller here by decision. It's women's MMA. It's opening the card. Yeah, I think this would go to a decision. So, but next one is Jordan. We got Jordan Levitt coming back. I haven't seen Jordan Levitt fight in a minute, I feel like. But Jordan Levitt was once a very liked prospect. Then he fought, obviously, Patty Pimlet loses. Then we got Yadier Davales, who Yadier is undefeated, hasn't lost yet. Jordan Levitt, it used to be, like I said, a good prospect. And there goes my dogs barking. Used to be a pretty good prospect. And yeah, he's fallen on hard times. And I think he's going to get the loss here to Yadier Davales because Yadier, he's a year younger, but in the UFC, he's had two finishes, both by submission. He's looked impressive, both coming in the first round, by the way. He showed very good submission skills. His striking has looked pretty solid. So yeah, either by submission. Ooh, do I want to go by submission? Because Levitt, I will say, Levitt's decent on the ground. He's been submitted twice by good grapplers, by like Pimlet, like I said, and Chase Hooper. But the issue is the guy got submitted. So Yadier could be. I could see Yadier getting the submission here. I don't know how he would what type of submission he would put him in, but I think Yadier is a solid enough prospect, pretty good prospect. He's gonna get it done here against Jordan Levitt. So yeah, that's how I see this fight going. And the next fight we got is Phil Rowe versus Jean Paul Leviznol. Is that how you say it? Uh, Jean Paul Lasboyani. I want to say that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, so Jean Paul is making his UFC debut, coming off the Contender Series. Phil Rowe is a veteran in the UFC. He's freaking unk now, 35. And how I see this fight going? Well, Phil Rosa is a win one type of fighter. He's gonna lose two something. He's on the tail end. Oh Jesus, I cannot speak. He's on the tail end of his career. Jean Paul, like I said, coming off the Contender Series, he's getting fed someone likable, a favorable matchup. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jean Paul here, and I think Jean Paul is gonna get it done by submission as well. He has very good submission. Even though I do think Phil Rose also has very good takedown defense, it's never been submitted before. I think his time has come, and I think Jean Paul will get it by submission here. So that's just how I see it. Phil Rose, like I said, up and down fighter. Um, in the UFC at this point. So how I think this fight. So Ramiz is a very good, has very good grappling, very good grappler. Can get you, submit you in a lot of different ways. And Pahim is all around. He has decent striking. Grappling's not that good. He's been submitted once, and overall just hasn't shown that much grappling. I think Ramiz is a very good grappler. He's very good at that. Striking needs to work on a bit. His striking isn't the greatest. Bit of a boring fighter can be sometimes, but has a high finish rate. Can submit you, and yeah, I think Ramiz is gonna submit Pumoyes. That's how I think the fight's gonna go. Because Punahana is one thing he's shown and struggled is grapplers sometimes. So and Ramiz is a very good grappler. So that's how I see this fight going. Raheem by submission. The next fight is Alden Goria versus Luis Guro. Alden Goria has very nice striking. He's if you don't count his no contest, he's on a 3-fight knockout streak. Has been knocking out a lot of people. Just made his UFC debut. UFC Noches getting a knockout in the last minute of the third round. Not the last minute, 40 early in the third round. I meant to say he got it early in the third. Uh, but only one fight in the UFC so far. We don't know that much, because the competition has been we don't know. Then for Luis is in his third fight in the UFC, or technically second if you don't count the Dana White. And yeah, this guy's 0-2 to start his UFC career. Hasn't looked that much promising. I'm gonna go freaking oh my god, I cannot speak today. Alden Coria by knockout. So the next fight we got is Ode Osborne versus Alibib the Idris. So Osborne has been an up and down fighter in the UFC, 34 now. Um, Coming off a loss against Steve Ursek, which we all know how good Steve Ursek is. He's a pretty good flyweight. Uh, just has struggled with grapplers a ton. He's been submitted 4 times now. A lot of those have came recently, and then we got freaking Alibi. Alibi is not a grappler. He's more of a striker. His last win, I mean, not his last win. His last fight was coming off a loss by submission. So he doesn't really have a strong ground game to say. So that's a favorable match for Osborne, who Osborne does not have the best grappling defense. He can submit you, but he doesn't have good grappling defense. But Osborne's looking to bounce back here, and I think Osborne's because I'm gonna assume he's gonna be the underdog here. I think he's gonna go for the upset here. I think he's gonna get this by decision here because um Alibi is just didn't look that didn't look too impressive to me when I saw him fight. He is a good striker. Let me rephrase that. He is a very good striker, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Osborne here. Osborne by decision. Yeah, Osborne by decision. That's how I think this fight's gonna go. Next fight we got Chini Nachui versus Carlos Lee. So we got an unk here in Nichidi Nachukui, but Nichidi is a like I said, a knockout machine. He's a finish machine. But the issue is no ground game and a weak chin. He has his last fight was against Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews submitted him. But before that, he was on a 3-fight win streak. Like I said, very good striker, very explosive. He's very good, but like I said, he's a guy who could go on streaks, then go on big losing streaks. And he's getting to the point he's probably at the tail end of his career. But Carlos Lee's also not a very strong fighter. He's not this like big prospect. No, this guy is uh two. I mean, 1-2 in his UFC. Um, Coming from the PFL, he's a PFL fighter. He did okay in the PFL and the regional is all okay. Carsley is okay. He's not nothing special, nothing great. And for Nakugu, if he wants to bounce back here, this is a perfect time for him to bounce back because Chidi is very explosive. Like I said, is a very good striker, and he's going against a very good striker in Carlos Lee. Basically, Chidi could get chin here. It's a very possibility he could get chinned because I'm not Carlos Lee, like I said, is a good striker. This guy can strike with you. But I'm gonna go Cheaty here. I'm gonna go with another upset. I think Cheaty will get the upset here because Carlos Lee he has experience, but not in the UFC. This guy's fought in the PFL all over the regional scene, and when he's been in the UFC, he hasn't looked super good. So I'm gonna go Cheaty here, even though Cheaty's coming off a loss. The guy's always he's so inconsistent. But yeah, I'm going Cheaty here, man. So the next fight we got is Zachary Reese versus Michelle Pereira. This will be Michelle Pereira's last fight in the UFC. He's retiring after. Sad to see a legend go away, but he's going against Zachary Reese, which Zachary is a pretty solid fighter, I believe. Coming off a submission win against Jackson McVeigh, he got in what to the second round. Pretty good performance. Then the no contest over Sikic Dumas, which was weird. A little left tap. He's a weird fighter because his resume isn't super strong. I look at his resume and is doesn't really have a notable win. It's all just a bunch of like solid borderline guys who are about to get cut in the UFC. You know, and that's what. So he's going against Michelle Pereira, who obviously Michelle's coming off a 3-fight losing streak. Um, which is yeah, sucks to see. But some those losses are kind of aging better for him. Last loss, Kyle Darkhouse. Kyle's able to putting on a little run right now in the UFC. Making a huge comeback story right now. Then Abus, even though I don't think Abus is that good, Abus is still pretty solid enough to stay around that borderline top 15 range. Even though he has no gas tank, he's good for run around. He's good for that, but he's gonna gas out. Then getting knocked out by Fluffy. Not the guy. Fluffy is Fluffy. Legit the main event of this card. So yeah, Zachary Reese versus Michelle Pereira. How I think it's gonna go. I think Michelle's gonna probably get it done here. I think Michelle's gonna get it done. How I think he's gonna get done by decision. His striking is good, and his submission. The guy is not gonna get submitted here. Zacharias is all around is good at everything. I think same thing with Michelle Pereira. All around, he's good at everything. He could submit you, pass some bad defense, and gasses out a bit. Uses too much energy, but I think Pereira's gonna get a gun. I'm gonna say by decision here. That's how I see this fight going out. So yeah, by decision. The next fight we got is Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Harrow. So both undefeated fighters going at it. Love to see. So Josiah Harrow is making his UFC debut here. Has never fought in the UFC, but 6 knockouts, 4 submissions. Has looked really good on the regional seeds, even though the leagues he's fought in. I mean, the LFA is pretty solid, but the Ohio Combat League, never heard of. So, but he's undefeated for a reason, has a good resume, but he's going against Jacoby Smith, who has been in the UFC, 3 fights in the UFC, all by finish. I think this is going to be a win for Jacoby Smith here. Jacoby Smith has looked pretty good in this UFC with some decent wins, like a submission over Nico Price. Nico Price is a journeyman, so some better wins, more experience. But hey, Josiah Harrow could get it done. He could, but no, Jacoby Smith. How I think Jacoby Smith's gonna get it? Most likely by knockout. I think he will get it done by knockout. He has great power when it comes to striking. Like I said, before he submitted oh my god, Price, he was on a 4-fight knockout streak. So he has great power, great finishing capability. Yeah, I believe Jacoby Smith will get it done here. So yeah, Jacoby Smith by knockout. Next fight, Sergey Spivak versus Ante Delije. This one I'm a little intrigued about because um Ante's coming off a loss over the GOAT himself, Waldo Cortez Acosta, you know, the GOAT. So he's coming off that loss, which he did win, but then he eye poked, and then they resumed the fight because he got the knockout over Waldo, they thought. Then he didn't because he eye poked him, and then he got slammed out by Waldo. But outside of that, he's won one fight in the UFC. Doesn't really have that much, but regional he was a good regional fighter. Sergey Spivak, up and down fighter right now in the division. Also lost to Waldo Cortez, then losing to Gelton. Just very, I think they're very similar fighters, very similar in the rankings. Like, no one really, like, they're very similar heavyweights, which not style wise, because Ante is a very good striker, while Sergey is a very good grappler. But they're very similar around the rankings, I'd say. And who I think is gonna win? Honestly, I think Delice is gonna win because Delice has never been submitted before. He has great, pretty solid submission game. Sergey gets knocked out a lot. Obviously, Delice has been finished 6 different times. He has been, but I don't think Sergey has the power like that. Like unlike Delice, I think Delice has the knockout capability. But as his heavyweight, everyone kind of has knockout capability. He could chin him. Anything's possible in heavyweight. But I think the high likelihood of Ante chinning Sergey than Sergey chinning Ante. I think Ante has a better chance of chinning him. So yeah, I'm gonna go Ante Delice here. By knockout. Either knockout or it's gonna be a decision. So yeah, but knockout. And the next fight, Dan Ige! Dan Ige! We got Dan Ige here. Dan Ige versus Melquiz Acosta. So Dan Ige is coming off a boring ass fight against Patricius Pitbull. So but I don't know if that's more Danny Ige's fault. I think that's more Pitbull because the two fights we've seen Pitbull fight in the USA, both fucking boring ass fights. Danny Ige is an entertaining fighter, but Danny Ige can't put a streak going together right now. But his resume is really good. If you look at his losses, they're not that bad. Patricius Pitbull, I think, is a little bit bad fight, even though I think he's okay, but I just, yeah. But he loses to Lerone. He's lost to Diego on short notice, by the way. Uh, like all these losses I'm looking at are not terrible. He's not terrible, and he's able to. He's able to pull off these wins where, like I said, if you're gonna be ranked in featherweight, you got to beat Danny Ige because he's the gatekeeper of that top 10 range. He's the gatekeeper of the early on ranks. And Melquiz Acosta is coming off a very impressive win, the head kick knockout, back in December. And before that, he was on a very, very good run. He's been on a good run. He's on a 5-fight win streak, with 3 of those by finish. And his last loss is against a ranked opponent in Steve Garcia. I do think Melquiz Acosta belongs in the rank. But for some reason, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I don't usually go with Dan Ige here. I think Dan Ige got one more in him. I think he has one more in him to get a rank, get this win. So I think Dan Ige will get it done. Because last time we saw Melquiz Acosta fight, he struggled against a good striker, a high volume. And Dan Ige doesn't get finished, you know. I don't think he will get finished here. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards Dan Ige. I think Dan Ige will get it done by a finish here. Because last time we saw Melco DaCosta fight a good striker, and it was a long time ago. It was 2023. He fought Steve Garcia, and like I say, Garcia has great power. Obviously, 15 fights, 19 fights, oh my god, 19 wins, 15 of them being knockout. He's a good fighter, very good. But Dan Ige also has power. So Dan Ige either by decision or knockout. Only time I'm choosing Dan Ige. I just feel like he can get this win here. He's a very good fighter still. Even though I said Danny Ige only loses to freaking if you're gonna be ranked. So if Melquez belongs in the rankings, he's gonna get the win here. So the next fight we got is Jeff Neal versus Uraz Medic. So Jeff Neal is obviously coming off that loss over Carlos Prates. spinning elbow. But outside that, Jeff Neal has never been knocked out before, or he hasn't been knocked out in like a long, long time. Uh, yeah, I think his last knockout before that was all the way was against Kevin Holland a long ass time ago, before the UFC. So, but he's going against a power merchant himself, and Uraz Medic. Uh, Uraz had all of his wins by finish. He's on a 2-fight win streak, but he has no chin. Really, he got knocked out. He's been finished before. He's the guy that won't go to decision, and his wins in the UFC are not very good. He's the wins I'm looking at. Yeah, they're just not very good. When he's gone against competition, he's lost. So Jeff Neal, man, I feel like Jeff Neal Unso got it. Because he didn't, outside of being knocked out, he didn't look that bad. Against Prates. Throughout the first, it was just the elbow caught him, and I don't think Jeff Neal is like washed at all. I think he still has some left in the tank. So yeah, I'm going Jeff Neal here. I'm going either by knockout decision. I could see this going to a decision. This Uraz, first decision. I could see that, but I think Jeff Neal will get it done, and I could be wrong here. I'm taking a lot of bad picks here. I could be wrong, but I just have a feeling about Jeff Neal, for this. And let's just get into the main event here, because I want to really talk about this Strickland versus Fluffy, and how this fight's gonna go. So Fluffy, the one thing I noticed with Fluffy, and we saw with the Michelle Pereira fight, is pressure. He has a hard time when he does get pressured. Obviously, he did knock out Pereira there, but I saw Pereira a couple times getting to him, walking him forward, and that's what Strickland does well, man. The Strickland may just throw jabs and teeps, man, but those really get to you, and that's how you're able to walk forward. Fluffy does not have any striking advantage here. I don't want to hear about Fluffy gonna knock out Strickland. He's not. What Fluffy's going to do, if he has to take this to the ground off the bat, because Strickland is just gonna fight his own fight if this fight stays on the feet. Strickland's just gonna walk him forward, jab and teep, and go on a like 49 48, like, I mean 49 40 freaking 6 decision or something like that. Um it's Strickland, man. That's what he does. But I do think Fluffy's going to try to get it done. And when Fluffy will get it down, how will Strickland be able to get up? I've been watching a lot of Strickland lately. Strickland, I noticed what he does really well, and then in the DDP fight, he was taken down a couple of times, but DDP shot a lot. Shot a lot. He shot 7 times. Is in the second fight, not the second fight, the first fight. Why did I say the second fight? First fight, he shot a lot and wasn't really able to get him down. Six shots. I mean, he shot 11, got 6 takedowns, only for 2 minutes of control. Strickland can get taken down, but he's really good at just getting back up, and he's very smart about how he's able to get back up. Same thing with the Abus fight. Abus was able to take him down in the first, but not for long. It's always been a thing where he gets taken down, but it's not for long. But I will say, out of anyone he's fought, this is going to be the best grappler Strickland's fought. Easily. Easily. But for Fluffy, and what people don't realize, this is going to be the best fighter Fluffy's fought. Fluffy doesn't have that good of a resume. I love Fluffy. Very entertaining. His best win is against fucking Roman Dolidze. Come on now. You can say Michelle Pereira. You can say Brandon Allen is his best win. That you could say Brandon Allen is his best win. Yeah, I agree with you. But what did he do against Brandon Allen that Strickland didn't do? Strickland knocked out Brandon Allen, and like, I don't know. I love Fluffy here, and I think Fluffy. Look, let me explain this in the easiest way. Fluffy's top 3 in the division. I think Strickland may be number one right now, because DDP. I still think DDP is very good. I just don't know what they're gonna do with DDP. He's gonna be fighting Brandon Allen or something next. Uh, I think Fluffy beats a Nazarim and Vidov because Nazarim we saw what Strickland did at Nazarim. Strickland is beating everyone in the top 5 outside of DDP, and then obviously Hamzat's not there. But let me remind you, and a lot of people, Strickland DDP the first fight. Strickland arguably won the first fight. To a lot of people, he did win. I still thought DDP won, but Strickland arguably won the first fight. So Strickland has fought very competitive with everyone in the top 5. The only guy he couldn't fucking beat is Jerry Cannonier for some reason. But Strickland's a very good fighter. He has very good takedown defense. And I see this thing about people saying Strickland gets taken out. You can't control Strickland. He's been very hard to control on the ground because he's very smart about knowing how to get up. Strickland is very good and knows when to get up. Obviously, Fluffy's very hard. It's going to be very hard for Strickland to get up, though. But when this fight will take place on the feet, Strickland has the advantage. I think the Teeps are going to do really good for him in this fight. Just got to pressure Fluffy a lot on that. And Strickland, and like I said, and when I said Fluffy does not have the striking, this is what I mean. When Fluffy's going to try to strike with Strickland, it's going to be really hard because we all know how hard it is to hit Strickland. Strickland has one of the best defenses in all the UFC. He's one of the hardest fighters to hit. So I just don't see Fluffy really getting comfortable in there in the octagon and striking. This is going to be a very competitive fight. This is not going to be a ragdoll fight. This is not going to be a one-sided fight. Both fighters are very good. Both are very good, and that's how I think. And that's why I'm concerned about Fluffy here, because a lot of people are taking Fluffy and thinking this is going to be a ragdoll submission. Again, this guy's best win is against Brandon Allen, who he didn't submit. And Brandon Allen is a very good grappler. Very good. Outside of his wins, though, none of these guys are top. Brandon Allen's not top 5, actually. But none of these guys are top 5 like Strickland. They don't have the resume like Strickland. And Strickland is an overrated striker. He is overrated, but what makes him a good striker is his defense and his ability to stay on the feet and to walk you forward and to keep that maintained distance. He's really good at maintaining distance. That's what he's really good at, able to know when to enter range and when to throw his jabs and teeps. He's very smart about that. Like, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. Like, Strickland's very smart. And I'm not a Strickland fan. Don't quote me here. I'm not a Strickland fan. I just think Strickland, right, is the better fighter. I'm worried about Fluffy here. I would be fine. I would be happy if Fluffy submits Strickland in the first round. But I realize how good Strickland is as a fighter. And people disrespect him now as that. Because he lost twice. And he lost really bad to DDP in the second fight. But he was supposedly injured. I don't know how real that fucking is. But he was supposedly injured in the second fight. Strickland seems more motivated here as well. I do feel he is motivated, unlike he was against DDP. Don't quote me, but I felt like he was very unmotivated against DDP. You hear what he was saying towards the fight, like, I don't care about losing my belt. And now you hear him talk like he wants to get the fight with Hamza. Like, he seems motivated, all this stuff. And how I feel Strickland has looked good outside of the DDP fights. This guy has beaten everyone in his division. He's just killed everyone. Fluffy doesn't have the resume, but like I said, Fluffy's ground game is so good, man. He is easily the second best grappler in that division, outside of Hamza, obviously. But he's easily number 2. And that's why him and Hamza would also be so entertaining, I think, because I think those two could go back and forth. But I'm worried about Fluffy here. I'm worried because Strickland is a good fighter. And how I think this fight's going to go, yeah, I'm leaning towards Strickland. This is going to be a close fight, but I think Strickland's going to get it done by a decision here. How I say, a very close decision. So yeah, I'm going Strickland by decision. Strickland is gonna. I feel like he's gonna be able because there's gonna be moments for Fluffy. I think Fluffy's gonna get it down on the mat a couple times. Like he's gonna get it down for a couple rounds. But that I didn't think overall Strickland's gonna just have the volume, not the volume, because this guy does not throw. This Strickland's biggest issue, he doesn't fucking have volume. But Strickland's gonna have more damage done. Damage output. Strickland's gonna have more. And I think the striking advantage is pretty big here because Strickland's so hard to hit and he knows when to enter range. Fluffy struggles with that and getting consistent striking going. So yeah, I'm taking Sean Strickland by decision. Yeah, thank you. I thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And yeah, I hope you all like the video, comment, subscribe, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. MMA Milton out.